Most times when fans speak about Ozai, they only mention his power. And true, the lore, specifically Avatar Extras, makes it clear that of his time period, he was the most powerful firebender around. But there is one skill that too many fans overlook. Let's discuss. Hey folks, welcome to the Geek Talk. Today, let's discuss the most undervalued strength of the Fire Lord. Let's do that by looking first at the injury Zuko sustained during his Agni Kai with his father, and examining that as a way to get a deeper insight into Ozai's true firebending skill. So I came up with this video topic because I was curious if Zuko's vision or hearing were impaired in any way. I mean, he has a pretty nasty burn on the side of his face. Something has got to be messed up. So I did a quick Google search to see if there was any lore surrounding Zuko's vision and hearing. I asked questions like, was Zuko blind or partially blind? Was he partially deaf in one ear? Was there any discomfort in his ear at all? When it came to Zuko's vision, that was an easy answer to find. According to Brian Konietzko, one of the creators of the show, he states straight up that Zuko is not blind in his eye at all. After asked if Zuko can see out of his scarred eye, Brian states, and this is in quotes, he can, he just can't open it very wide. The skin's not soft. So while Zuko might have a more narrow view around the edges, his actual eyesight is perfectly normal. Now, when I started looking up how his hearing was affected, there wasn't as much of a clear-cut answer there. But fans have lovingly pointed out that oftentimes, Zuko sleeps on his scarred side and only sleeps on his non-scarred side when he's around people he trusts. So why would he do this? The main theory around this is that it's because Zuko is hard of hearing in his damaged ear. Therefore, when he is sleeping in an environment he knows well, he sleeps for comfort. Or in other words, he sleeps on his non-scarred side, which is probably more comfortable. But in doing that, he sacrifices his ability to listen to any intruders. And vice versa. He sleeps on his scarred side to keep a good ear out in sacrifice of his own sleeping comfort. Now, of course, this is only a theory and has not been confirmed by the creators, especially when we've never had anything from Zuko complaining about his hearing during the show or comics. But it's a theory that might have some legs. Perhaps Zuko isn't totally deaf in one ear, but there's an argument for him being at least partially deaf, or at least having great discomfort there whenever he lays on it. So, what does this have to do with Ozai? Let's look back at the teachings Yang tried to impart to Aang. During that first season of Airbender, we get a lot of insight into what made firebending great, or rather, how a firebender could be great with firebending. And it did not seem to come from big shows of strength. Instead, it came by way of the breath and a strong root, as we learned from Iroh in his early episodes when he taught Zuko. It came by way of strong fundamentals and control, as we learned from Zhang when he briefly trained Aang. Just look at the exercise Zhang gave to Aang. Aang was told not to let an entire leaf burn, a leaf that was already kindling near the middle. This was an exercise of control, of precision, a true act of a master firebender, or in this case, a novice firebender on his way to becoming a master. We later see these principles strengthen when Aang takes on Zhao, who completely destroys his own ships because he had no control over his fire, even though he had a lot of power with it. Now, some Avatar fans would like to put Ozai in the same boat as Zhao. Oh wow, that was totally a pun. I didn't realize that. That was actually kind of cool. But it's true. People try to put Ozai in the same boat as Zhao, as though he too is all power and flash with no precision and no control. But these fans tend to forget how lightning bending works, whereas one has to be completely cool and centered to do it. And by all accounts, Ozai has shown us the most powerful version of lightning within the entire series, not just within Last Airbender itself. But again, people think he just does power for power's sake, and in doing that, he's more likely to end up doing more damage to himself than his opponent. But lightning bending aside, which I think shows an incredible amount of control, there is another showcase of Ozai's mastery with firebending, and that comes by way of his Agni Kai with Zuko. Ozai had the precision to do harm to his son, but not kill him or even permanently damage or even significantly damage him. In our own real world, burn victims that have injury near the eye, not even over the eye like Zuko, tend to have a severe loss of vision. Yet Ozai was delicate enough to give Zuko the scar but not make him go blind. Same goes for Zuko's ear. Though only a theory, it would seem at most Zuko is only partially deaf, or at best his hearing is unaffected but he has discomfort in his ear. This, to me, is a mark of a true master. In my Versus series, which by the way, if you're new to this channel, I do a Versus series where I pit Avatar characters together, I often say that a truly proficient bender can harm their opponent without killing them, that is a true sign of someone who is your better. And the amount of malicious grace Ozai applied to Zuko's scar shouldn't be taken lightly in my opinion. And it's a good narrative to do away with this thought that Ozai is some mindless rage fighter as opposed to the highly skilled and functional master he truly is. But let's turn this question back to you all. Do you believe Ozai's firebending skill is underrated and his showing against Zuko is a sign of his true strength as a firebender? Or do you believe he is indeed a mindless brute with no form of tactic whatsoever? Let me know in the comments below and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace, love, and remember, be water, my friends.